believe that this convention will point in a direction of where the community wants to go. And as again, it's been 15 years since we've had a convention of this kind.
Charley Fisher would soon return to the city of Buffalo, and in 1996, he set out on a mission to revive the spirit of B.U.I.L.D by establishing a new organization, the Community Voice.
16 years later, we formed the Community Voice, and Bill Gator and others who came to this convention, really, you could have called it the B.U.I.L.D organization. The Youth Planning Council, which meets every Friday, is sort of like one of the parts of the B.U.I.L.D organization. Or the B.U.I.L.D organization didn't die. People said B.U.I.L.D died, it didn't. B.U.I.L.D Academy continued through the Board of Education. The B.U.I.L.D Halfway House became the Buffalo Halfway House. It's still there. The woman, when I removed the director and hired Veronica Hill Graham, she's still the director there. The Juneteenth Festival, which later was incorporated, it's still going on, and it's in its 20th year. But the B.U.I.L.D organization, and I think today is still necessary. Here's a picture here of Mrs. Sims and Bessie Robinson, who we honored. I thought that was a great thing. But one of the most thrilling things at the convention was to see Bill Gator come to the convention and be part of the convention, to speak to it, to electrify us, and to speak to the healing that had taken place, where we were committed to, bringing this community together. And of course, the executive director who replaced Bill Gator, L. Nathan Hare, is now commissioner. He chaired our platform committee of the convention. Turnaround, it was many old B.U.I.L.D people were there, but especially Bill Gator. It was a great day to see him there.
Thank you. I'm going to ask now for you to repeat after me the Black Creed adopted in the B.U.I.L.D Convention 1977. I'd like you to repeat after me. The African American community is a people and not an area. It is the culmination of our African heritage, joined with 400 years of slavery, discrimination, and struggle. As a member of the African American community, I pledge to remain aware of this heritage, of this American experience, and of our common goal to achieve a higher order of human dignity and brotherhood. I pledge to respect my church, love my family, and work for the betterment of my community, and to bring harm to no one without just cause, diligently protecting my family and community through love, knowledge, and the necessary arts of self-defense. And I further pledge to pass on to my children and my community these very same principles to the best of my ability for as long as I live. Thank you very much. That is the Black Community Creed, 1977.
So I'm saying to all of you, please, let's all join together and help this organization to be the great organization that we know it will be, and that we will help our youth become the great leaders that we hope they will be. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave with you this poem. It's called The Conscious Mind. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you would like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you will lose, you have lost. For out in the world you will find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. Thank you very much.
I'm here tonight meeting people that I met before Juneteenth ever was come about. Rodriguez, Anthony Rodriguez. He worked with me in social work. I see him here tonight. And it's so many of these young people, I call them young people, because my birthday, next birthday, I'll be 90 years old. I thought one time if I resigned, it wouldn't be nobody to carry on Juneteenth. But I'm telling you, I have the greatest board, which I'm president emeritus. But this board that's carrying on Juneteenth is out of this world. So that's all I have to say. So thank this board over and over for carrying on Juneteenth on.
It is a delightful pleasure to be here this evening and to say a word about Juneteenth. I'm disappointed that more people are not here, but when you're starting something, generally it doesn't come across too good in the beginning, but it will build. If we put our minds to it, we can do whatever we want to do. And one of the things I'd like to say, I would like our young people to become more better informed on the things that's going to impact upon their lives when they become our age. Some are not thinking that they're going to become our age. And as Mrs. Sims has said, she will be 90 years old her next birthday. Well, I will be 80 years old my next birthday. So she don't have much on me. So I'm just grateful and thankful to be here. And parents, please start teaching your children to take pride in their community. That's one of the things that caused our community to get the kind of name it has. We are allowing our children too much latitude in doing the things that they want to do. Our community looked like a Holocaust has hit it because we are not taking pride in where we live. We live here. We got beautiful homes still here. And those that are old, I live in an old house. But I don't want anyone coming around marking it up and maiming it and disfacing it. And so we must begin to take pride in where we live, wherever it is. And that's one of the things that we are going to have to do to have the kind of community that we would like to have. Thank you.
And speaking of the B.U.I.L.D organization, as you saw on the program last night, William L. Gator was one of those in which we intended to honor, for he was the original chairman of the Juneteenth Festival. And as we had some of our original and charter Juneteenth members like Claudia Sims and Bessie Robinson, Bill was not here last night. And in fact, his plaque is somewhere in the hands of Juneteenth right now. Otherwise, I would give it to him. But we certainly want to acknowledge contributions of William Gator, who served as president of B.U.I.L.D from 1967 to 1969, and executive director of the B.U.I.L.D organization from 1969 until 1978. He then went on to found the Institute of People's Enterprises. And so at this point, as I exercise my executive privilege to begin our round of readings, I'm going to call on the founder of the Institute of People's Enterprises, IPE. He will be escorted by Charles Davis, one of our floor marshals, and his lovely wife, Camille Gator. I'd like you all to help me to acknowledge him. He's been through a great struggle in his health recently. He is the affirmative action director for the Roswell Park development, the $250 million development for affirmative action, and he's been an outstanding person. Will you help me by standing to receive a great man in William Gator as he comes to give remarks, founder of IPE, president of the B.U.I.L.D organization. Here he comes, and his lovely wife, Camille. Come on, let's give him a hand clap. These people made it possible for us to have our freedom and opportunity here in Buffalo. Those who have gone before us, we should acknowledge them. Is that right? For our community is a united community. They're coming now. Come on, let's keep it going. Come on. William Gator and Bill Gator, they come to the podium to greet us and give remarks.
Good evening, Mr. Fisher, delegates, organizers, participants. I'm very happy to be here this evening. I'm very happy to be here at all. I had a little bit of a health setback about 2 months ago, and my wife told me that it got to be a little serious, especially when my heartbeat kind of flattened out a couple of times. But I have a lot of good friends in this city, and when people heard that I was sick, I think all of my friends started praying, and the prayers brought my health back to me. So I feel kind of strong and kind of sassy, and very, very fortunate and very blessed to be here. I am a little bit apologetic for not being here last night. However, I don't force myself to do things anymore. And if I had been here last night, it would have been one of those occasions when I had forced myself. I've gone through several efforts in this community to build organizations. And I just want to say that it is not easy to do. And if you are serious about doing it, you have to make some serious commitments, and you have to be willing to put in some hard work, and you have to have patience with the people that you're working with. And you got to have knowledge about what it is that you're trying to do. And after that, you probably need a lot of prayer. But let me just say that I think things are not much improved today over the way they were 25 years ago. I think we still have the same enemies: greed, racism, laziness. So, I mean, one of the things that happened to me along the way is that after being in B.U.I.L.D for all those years, I got a little bit tired of begging people to fight their own fight and to stand up for the causes that they should stand up for. I got a little bit of tired of begging people to pay for what they want. I mean, if you want an organization, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay money, you're going to have to pay time, you're going to have to pay commitment, and you're going to have to be true to each other. Otherwise, you're just blowing air in a windstorm. And I'm sure in 1996, no one my age wants to be involved in an effort that is nothing more than blowing air in a windstorm. But your enemies are still there. For our children, for our communities, for our future. It's a little even worse now because the corporations are bigger. They can hide from you better. You don't know who your enemies are sometimes. We are so quick to support our enemies and not support ourselves. You find us in places where we don't have any business being. We spend our money with the very people who hate our guts. We just can't wait sometime to get our money in our pockets so that we can get on the expressways and get out to the suburbs and spend our money with those people who ran from us and won't live with us and don't support Jefferson Avenue and don't go to church with us and don't live in our cities. You know, we just can't wait. We're the greatest supporters of everybody else. So I hope that those of you who are planning this endeavor will keep those things in mind. And for myself, I hope to be here, and if there's something that I can do, I certainly will be willing to do it, as long as it's not blowing air in a windstorm. Thank you. Charlie and I go back a long ways. We have not always agreed, but I think we both have put in a lot of effort for this community. I hope that this works out well for you.
And so yes, there is a need, and the community voice is an attempt to do just that, to take up where the B.U.I.L.D. organization left off.
As soon as a garbage truck pulled up, the protest began.
We will not do it today. We will not be used. I don't want this truck to go backwards either. Stop them from going backwards and going forwards and back. I've had it with this. I've had it. We will not do it.
Moments after protest organizer Charley Fisher forced the truck to stop, Streets Commissioner Vince Lavallo arrived, shook Fisher's hand, and got his drivers out of the vehicle.
Okay, but I got to do what I got to do. That's right. You do what you got to do.
Which was to step out for an unplanned break and expected debate.
If you cut the non-essential department, it's $5 million.
We propose consolidating the Erie County Youth Services with the city division.
And it hasn't happened, Charlie.
Okay, but they need to make this happen.
Yeah, but
before
Charlie,
they tax the people.
that's not going to make up $12 million.
We don't have many people can't pay it. Understand this. They can't pay it. The seniors who are getting lean, we don't have to pay it. And you know what? They're going to have to find another way to do this.
The hostility did not last long. Within a few minutes, the protesters and sanitation workers shook hands, and the demonstration was over.
I'm pleased about the turnout of people who came out, brothers and sisters who stood with me. I'm pleased that, you know, this makes people aware. Sometimes you have to get the attention of them, you have to make a loud noise. Now that we have the attention, I hope people listen.
The city of Buffalo cannot survive without the user fee. It will be bankrupt without it. And people have to learn that if we don't do this, we're in a lot of trouble in regards to our ability to remain fiscally solvent.
Poor people, residents, homeowners, and senior citizens are going to have to pay for this, and we want government off our backs and out of our pockets.
In return for the user fee, city residents have been promised better service. The street sanitation department will be run like any other business, with its goal to please the customer.
Residents have been promised they won't come home to find their trash cans tossed in the street. Sanitation crews will also have to clean up any garbage they spill.
We'll make a promise that we will put the cans up and we'll sweep up and clean up after ourselves. And, you know, there's a lot of good workers out there.
I'm a property owner too.
Jasmine nightclub is considered by some as the place to be. But Charley Fisher and the Community Voice say it's also a place for violence.
This is a nightclub that we have discovered has had not only a host of shootings and violence, it's unsafe and reckless there, but this is also a nightclub that has young people in here underage. I don't care how much money they spend on the radio, I don't care how big time they are, they're going to have to close down. Cease and desist and get out of this community. Get on out of here.
Charley Fisher has been a passionate protester before. Seldom has Fisher sounded more irate than in his tirade against Jasmine, an East Side nightclub that has garnered plenty of bad publicity in the last 2 years. In the summer of 1995, 2 people were stabbed and another shot after a promoted concert by a rap duo was canceled. The club banned rap music, but now Fisher and other activists in Community Voice say that's not enough. They are planning a human barricade to prevent young clubgoers from going inside Jasmine this weekend. And they're demanding the city shut down what has become more of a trouble spot than a hot spot.
This is just 100 yards from a church. They should have never got a permit here in the first place. So guess what? We're here to tell Buffalo. The Community Voice says this place should not be open for business. In fact, as citizens, we take our rightful place to announce that this store needs to be closed down. This business needs to be closed down for good.
Members of Community Voice point to an incident that happened just this past Friday here at Jasmine. 4 people were shot at the club. Police say that's one of many incidents they've responded to since Jasmine opened. Police say because Jasmine has the capacity to hold upwards of 700 people, the potential for trouble increases.
People have been assaulted, there have been fights. We've made numerous arrests over there. It's the type of call where at times 5, 6 cars are over there, and they're there for, like an hour.
Inspector Redmond says police have filed reports 3 times with the State Liquor Authority declaring the premises disorderly, but Jasmine remains open.
General Manager Sam Kadai doesn't deny that violence has erupted at Jasmine, but instead of closing the club down, he thinks that Charley Fisher and the Community Voice should work with him to stop the problem.
I respect what Mr. Fisher is doing, because that's what he wants to do. But I think he should at least call me and find out what happened.
What happened was someone was able to slip by security with a gun, but Kadai says that doesn't happen too often. In fact, every week he confiscates a number of knives and other weapons that people try to carry into the club.
I honestly can't say how he got it in the club, but it's action of this kind of individual is what discourages businessmen from coming to an area such as this and start a business and invest their money in.
You can't do anything better than have a place where drugs and guns are allowed. Get out of Dodge, get out of town.
Diane Williams shops at Allen Joe's Market all the time, but the other day she bought more than she bargained for. She got a jar of pizza sauce that she says has been expired for about 4 years.
This is ridiculous. This is 1997, the beginning of 1997, and that was 1993. If I had opened that jar and not paid attention to the date, I could have been sick right now, in the hospital, anything.
That's when Diane called Charley Fisher and the Community Voice. Last night, Fisher and other members of the Neighborhood Action Group went with Diane to the market where she allegedly bought the bad goods and rated it.
I bought this a little while ago, and this is 1989.
See the prices reduced on it?
What? Reduced?
Yeah.
It's illegal to sell something from 1989. No. The city of Buffalo has to have a deli licensing law. They're selling bad food all over this community.
After the raid, the deli owner still insisted he provides good products for the people of this community.
I put in almost 15 hours a day, from 6:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. I do serve the people. I do. Who's going to serve them?
This home video shows how easy it is for a minor to buy alcohol at a local deli. You're watching a 16-year-old walk into the Nashwan Mini Market and come out with a 40-ounce bottle of malt liquor.
I went in the store and I went to the cooler and I picked up a 40-ounce St. Ice bottle and I put it on the counter, and the man picked up a bag and bagged it for me and asked me for the money. And he didn't ask for any identification. At all. At all.
I will sing, this is a day that the Lord has made.
The purchase planned by the newly formed Deli Task Force, a community group which works with police to watch city delis. In recent months, its members have demanded some owners clean up their stores, get outdated goods off the shelves, and now stop selling alcohol to minors.
And today, in Precinct 6, we're able to say to our community, our work is nearly done. We don't need to be any longer going in the stores, doing shop-ins, because we have a weapon, we have a vehicle that we can, as citizens, turn over to the authorities the proper way to deal with this.
We tried to get the deli's point of view, but managers here refused to comment. We even brought along a portable VCR for them to view the tape, but they wanted no part of it. But Buffalo police do. Deputy Commissioner Rocco Dino already took a look at it and will turn it over to the State Liquor Authority. And if it's determined Nash Schwan's is in violation, store owners could face stiff fines or even lose their liquor license.
There's no room in the inn for outlaws. Let me say that.
Mr. Fisher, you're out of order.
But before the meeting could even begin, this outburst by well-known Buffalo activist Charley Fisher, who broke into the meeting room ranting about the issue of residency for Buffalo teachers.
And what I'm here today to say that we cannot tolerate this. There must be a residency law. And what we would like to do is say to the Board of Education, pass a strong residency law. I can't work in the city of Amherst because I live in Buffalo.
Well, board members certainly had enough of that. They called in the police to try and get rid of Mr. Fisher. But by the time police arrived at the meeting, Fisher had already disappeared, apparently out the back door here at City Hall. The residency question is something the teachers' union doesn't even want to hear about, since it argues the state of New York pays 75% of the city's budget anyway.
I think that's ridiculous. The bottom line is that you want the best and the brightest teachers regardless of where they live.
I think that it has the potential, has a great deal of potential. My problem is with its focus. B.U.I.L.D was more than demonstration. It was more just than a action-oriented organization. It was an organization with purpose, focus, concentration, the things that develop into seeing viable results. You know, one of the problems that I have is that we talk much and accomplish little. And we need to concentrate more on what to do, how to do it, when to do it, who's going to do it, than demonstrating. You know, get away from the demonstrations and get into those things that produce product, that produce resources. That's the time. We've gone through one stage of our development. Now it's time to make the transition. And I'm not saying essentially that Community Voice is not doing it. I'm saying essentially that they need to begin to organize this community, which is essential to our development.
And we knew, you know, a long time ago that our dad was a great man.
Darrell Gator, reflecting the admiration that he and his 10 brothers and sisters felt for their father, respected community activist and civil rights leader William Gator. The 69-year-old Gator was instrumental in so many Buffalo institutions, such as Roswell Park Cancer Institute, the University at Buffalo, and co-founder of the B.U.I.L.D Academy, which started as a private school for black inner-city kids and set the standard for magnet schools in Buffalo.
They had community involvement with parents and people from the community, and they had a policy board and a PTIA, and this is the format that the magnet schools have used ever since.
Those who knew Bill Gator marvel at his generosity and his strong commitment to the church, a faith he instilled in all of his children. Gator was singing in church yesterday when he was stricken by a fatal heart attack. Bill Gator would have celebrated his 70th birthday next week, but friends and family say they could never get him to slow down.
There's no question in my mind he is in heaven. He is a saint. Amen. He is with the Lord, sitting at the right hand with Jesus, and this is going to be a great celebration, and we're going to do things in this community. We're going to work together. We're going to be together. We're going to create institutions in his name so that people will never, ever forget William Bill Gator.
Amen.